You are listening to Salty Believer Unscripted, a conversation on Christian ministry and the Christian life.
This is Salty Believer Unscripted. I'm Josiah Walker.
I'm Brian Catherman.
And today we have a special guest with us in the studio. Daniel, welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Daniel, how old are you, man?
I'm 14.
What are you doing here?
Well, for my birthday and Christmas, I wanted to come to a Charles Simeon Trust workshop, and my dad made it happen.
Awesome. That sounds like a great dad.
Those guys made it happen. They made a huge exception.
I forgot to say, this is Salty Believer Unscripted Road Trip Edition.
Road tripping! We're not studio hotel room?
Yeah, well, Airbnb on location here in Bellflower, California, because we are attending the Charles Simeon Trust workshop here at Bellflower Baptist Church.
Right, and those guys are great.
They are
Let's
great.
throw a shout out to them.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting that. That's been great. This has been, man, I don't even know. It's been a whirlwind. So we got in the car this morning in St. George.
St. George, Utah, which is already, 5 hours away from...
about 5, almost 6 hours away.
Yep.
Got in the car, locked and loaded, turned on one of the online courses with the Simeon Trust.
Yeah, we did the D.A. Carson. There's 2 lectures in the beginning of the apocalyptic literature.
Yeah.
Online courses. So they have those online courses are great, and they are high level. You do the first principles first, just to get the lingo down, and most of that is David Helm, but then all the rest of them, 2 of them that was some top-notch stuff on Revelation from D.A. Carson.
Those were intense.
And it was good, though, because we could pause it and talk a little bit and then go. It was good.
Did you enjoy those, Daniel, or were you sleeping?
No, I was awake.
You were awake?
He was awake in the
that?
back seat.
Awesome.
That was some... Yeah.
But we came off of that, and then we came in, because we came in early today.
Yeah, really early. Yep.
Because the day before the conference starts tomorrow, they kind of do a train the trainers, where they walk through all of the text for this week.
That was intense. We went through the entire book of Second Timothy.
I didn't think we would, but
everybody had done the work.
Yeah, 5 hours sitting, and we were just flies on the wall. But we were watching these pastors just kind of critique each other, and work through their passages, and
we were just the observers on the outer ring. It was whoa.
I mean, you and I and Daniel even have started taking some Greek classes, and I was sitting there going, "Man, I need English classes." Well, we're talking about plural and pronouns. So subjunctions and conjunction, junction.
Before we freak everybody out, so these workshops have an instructional piece. We had Robert Kinney explain the 3 legs of the stool, right? So instructional piece, and then there's some preaching, and then these workshops where you get preachers who have been assigned a text. They have this handout, like what's the argument of the text, what's the flow of the text. It's got some questions on it. How would you outline this? How would you preach it? What's the main thrust of this? And so then there's a whole process, which I think the process was really good.
Yeah.
So they sort of practiced going through all of these together. Like one person presents for 5 minutes, and I think Brett had talked about this, and then one person is a responder, and then the whole room has like a 15 minute conversation, right?
Sure.
About all those questions, and some of these guys were like, well, I broke this down based on this breakdown in the Greek, or this imperative, and that's kind of how 2 Timothy runs on a lot of imperatives and structure, and some of those guys know the stuff well, and they were going back and forth on a lot of that. Some of those guys were clearly like, that's way over my head.
Sure.
But then the guys would bring them into that, so you have really, there's a lot of doctors in the room. I don't know if you realize that.
I didn't know.
No, there's some doctors in the room, guys, doctoral candidates in the room, guys who've been preaching for 20 years that are in those leadership circles. So there's a leader for every small group and an apprentice in there, and they'd all been to the workshops, and it was good. A
lot of the guys...
Well, but also, so sometimes I was like, these guys, clearly this is something that I'm kind of lost here, but Josiah, did you feel like you were more lost in most of the time, less lost, not lost? There was only a couple times when they really got into like the hortatory subjunctive versus the indicative.
Yeah, there were some $2 words that I didn't know, but for the most part, I was able to follow along, and I took some great notes, and it was actually really helpful.
So I saw you writing in your Bible a bunch. I saw Daniel; he's got his Bible open, he's got highlighted stuff. Did you feel like you learned stuff, Daniel?
Yeah.
So at 14, you're starting to learn Greek, but it wasn't all Greek, right?
No.
There was a lot of stuff that was just
Seeing the connectivity throughout all of 2 Timothy, and how things in chapter 4 related back to chapter 1. Yeah. And that connective tissue that I think sometimes we miss when we're just looking at a certain pericope or a certain passage.
Right, and it wasn't just that, like, here's the information from one person. This room of leaders, instructor, or small group leaders, whatever they call them, were coming to these major things, and then the Simeon Trust guys were kind of helping guide that conversation. It was remarkable.
What I love, too, was I heard today, I knew that kind of working through, because they give you the worksheet, and there's some prep work you got to do, and we have our passages.
But I did not do enough prep work after seeing all this.
We're going to burn some midnight oil tweaking some things tonight. But what I didn't realize was how much of the workshop time is actually going to be spent in small groups working through these passages.
Yeah, a good portion of it, a lot of it.
And one thing, I don't know if this was discussed on our podcast when we interviewed Robert Kinney, but he was actually suggesting creating a preaching schedule that kind of comes out of the workshop that you attend.
He said that.
That might have been offline, but
no, that would have been if we would have said, okay, at some point this year we're going through 2 Timothy at Redeeming Life. Man, we got so much good information, plus the tools, and we haven't even done the workshop yet. This is the pre-workshop.
This is the free workshop. So if you go to a workshop, plan to preach on this text, your church might come back to you and say, man, you preach that book, like, you know.
We should send you to another workshop.
That was phenomenal. Like, whoa, that was some great preaching. Now, Daniel, you got to talk to Robert Kinney, too, when he was in town, because you're getting ready to preach on this text, too, right? You actually are coming out of this workshop, and you're going to preach on this text to our seniors at our church.
We told Robert, Daniel's going to be preaching, and he said, Daniel, what text are you preaching? And you told him
2 Timothy 3:16.
And then how did that go?
He was very nice about it. He said that might be a little bit too little of a text. So,
but he said still go for it.
Yeah.
But systematic theology, right?
Yeah.
What did you do? And then you guys talked about it.
Yeah.
Based on how you worked with Robert, what did you conclude you're going to do?
I'm going to switch the text. I'm going to go to 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 3 through 7, just the whole pericope, and just to get the bigger picture of the first few verses.
So that was when we were in Salt Lake, and he was in Salt Lake with us. We went to lunch. And then I'm here. It's, 2 or 3 days later, we're here, and I'm watching. So I watched Robert, gently and just the most graciously, wonderfully leading. He did not tell Daniel to change anything. He said, go for it if you want to go for it. Do this. Here's what that looks like. It was a great conversation. So Daniel was highly encouraged to go ahead and preach his second sermon that he'll be preaching. And Robert just guided him. So gently at that level. And then at the same time, there were a couple of these instructors that you could tell they're big shot doctor, whatever's arguing, there was that sort of thing. And then at the same time, he's like, well, what about this? And how about that? And so you just see it was remarkable.
What I loved was a lot of the pastors that we met today, they're from the LA area, obviously, but some guy had come in from Rhode Island, and they were all really seeking to help each other.
Yeah, and I think I came from Oregon or something, didn't he? Where's he from? It doesn't matter, but yeah.
But, you've got your doctorate, Brian. What did you think of today? Did you find it helpful? Were there things that you saw in the text today that you hadn't seen previously?
Oh, man. So, okay, I'll just confess. At one point, the conversation is happening. One of the guys, we won't name names here, but one of the guys lays out a little bit of a structure argument, and I leaned over to you. The nice thing not being at the table is we were off to the back, so we could kind of whisper to each other.
Yeah.
I lean over to you and I go, that sounds like a stretch. He's really going to have to prove this to me.
Sure.
I see what he's saying, but I don't know if I'm convinced.
I remember that because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I don't know if I see this in the text.
What? And then as he unpacked it, and then he moves further down in the passage, and he comes back up, I went, I can never not see that again that way.
It was like a light bulb went off.
No, but so you have that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I did not see that. And then the other thing that was so good for me was just getting in a room like that. It was like being back at my doctoral seminars, or maybe even in seminary, like just a good conversation. Yeah. And guys were having a good time. These are the leaders, so I don't think it's going to be quite this level, because it's going to depend on all the guys that come, right? But one of the guys was in there, and he was like, they were asking him some questions. He presents his position, and they say something like, so, how do you see this structure here? Why did you come to that conclusion on the main point? And he basically was like, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that whiteboard in this conversation is going to turn this. Like he was making jokes, and then someone said, hey, well, I see this. And he's like high-fiving, like, yeah, assist. And they're just joking. So it was so fun to be in a room full of, some of those guys have been pastoring for 25 years. Some of them were like, I'm an intern who just got off this thing. So it was,
real diverse group.
That's not true. None of those leaders were, I'm an intern. The interns were off in they were in our outer ring, but it was fun.
I feel like an intern.
Yeah, it was fun to have that preachers in a room. I mean, how many guys were in there for the? So there's 4.
I think there were like 10 at the table.
10 at the table. Yeah, because there's like 4 instructors, 4 apprentice, or 4 small group leaders, 4 apprentices, plus the Simeon Trust instructor. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, so every small group has a leader who's leading it, an apprentice who's maybe gone to one workshop.
Yeah, they have to do that.
Yeah, they're helping out. And what I love is it was a real diverse group of individuals. There wasn't one person who just nailed it and had it perfectly.
No.
There was critique for everyone.
No, and even Robert, somebody had kind of pressed back and they were talking through something. Even a guy who's been doing this, who's the Simeon Trust leader in this, was like, "Oh, I see where you're coming from there." That like everybody was helping everybody.
So I mean, it's been really exciting. I mean, not everybody gets kind of this sneak peek preview. This is the kind of access you only get at Salty Believer Unscripted.
Yeah, no kidding.
We got to come in early.
It's because they're supporting the podcast, and we're putting a lot of this out there. Right? They're not financially supporting. They just let us come to the sneak peek.
Yeah, they just want our listeners to be equipped.
Press pass.
It was a press pass.
It was a podcast pass.
So we got to see that. So we actually got to register early, and just like Brett had said on the podcast, we got a nice Bible, a nice ESV Bible, courtesy of Simeon Trust. So we got that along with our agenda, and I'm excited. Kind of looking at this week's agenda. So there's small groups. We already said that we spend a lot of time kind of in that small group working through that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we can make some connections with these guys. We're far away from a lot of them, but they're great. I mean, this is great. Yeah. I'd love to have one in our community that's closer. Right?
Absolutely. But then I was also excited because I saw we're going to be able to listen to it. Is it 3 or 4 sermons throughout the week?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the schedule, but there's a bunch of preaching, and then only 30. They did say, listen. 30-minute limit, guys, because we got a lot going on. So,
one of the guys asked me, because you and I pastor together, how long we preach at our church. And I said, about 25 to 45 minutes. And I said, you preach longer than I do.
Yeah, when have I preached 25 minutes?
But what's nice is you and I get to kind of sit under each other's preaching.
Yeah.
But some of these guys are just doing it on their own.
No, a lot of these guys are in solo situations.
So to have a week where you can sit and listen to the preached word and just be edified through that. And through connections.
Some of these sermons, so a couple of them are going to be provided by the Simeon Trust preachers, but some of them are from these guys that are right here in the LA Preachers Group. Yeah. The guy, the host pastor's preaching one. Yeah. And so I really look forward to that.
Yeah, it was great getting to meet those guys. Daniel, how do you feel? Like, I don't know, did you really know what you were getting into when you signed up to get in the car and come down here?
No, but I'm glad I got to find out.
So after kind of sitting through today and get that sneak peek, are you sitting here going, maybe I'm going to stay back at the hotel tomorrow? Or are you wanting to, are you ready to go and be there tomorrow?
No, he told me, he's like, tomorrow's going to be exciting. That's what he said. Tomorrow's going to be exciting. Which I leaned over, I'm like, how is he enthralled by this? But I think the conversation and then the text, even at being 14 years old, it was engaging. It was really awesome.
So if somebody was listening and they're sitting there going, I've only gotten a few sermons under my belt, I'm a little scared to go to something like this. Do you think they should be worried about that?
No. So I think Robert talked about it. I think Brett talked about it. And we've shared, there's a little bit of this sense of nervousness.
Right.
There's a group of leaders and apprentices sitting on the table. And I saw one of the apprentices kind of reading through his worksheet as he's doing his presentation. Yeah. And he was kind of shaking, right? Yeah. But everybody came along with him. Yeah. And it wasn't like, oh, look at you don't know how to preach. It was like, okay, I see what you're doing there, and let's work through it. Because the goal here is progress. Everybody should be progressing as a preacher, not figure out the text.
I appreciated that. Robert Kinney said that today, and I can't remember what his exact quote was, but really looking at progress. So I wrote down in my notes, progress over perfection.
Yeah.
Right? It's more important to make progress.
He went to 1 Timothy with some scripture with that, but that's the goal.
Because we're all seeking to grow as pastors. So, I mean, you preached for what, 500 sermons?
I think we were trying to figure out, it's about 450, somewhere in that ballpark.
Did you learn something today?
I learned a ton. No, I'm gonna go back. I want to retweak the work I brought. Yeah. And they did say, go back and rework it and think about it.
And that's the cool thing of the workshop too, is you're going to share something. You're going to share one of your passages. Everyone gets assigned 2 passages.
Yeah.
And then you get the night to go home and kind of think through what you learned that day. Because you don't present your next passage till maybe the day after.
Yeah, plus there's instructional stuff.
Yeah.
So you can come in and say, I didn't realize this piece or that piece. I'll tell you what was cool, though. It was really encouraging for me to go, wait a minute. I made that connection. Now, we were observers, so I didn't...
Sure.
There were times I'm like, I would have had that totally wrong. Yeah. Now that you point that out. But there was a couple of times I thought, I wish I could contribute here because I've done some passage work. And I'm like, look at this connection here and this... we're road tripping, so we probably got too much sugar and soda in us. But
we were jazzed.
It was. I am really looking forward to tomorrow, and I actually am at the point where I'm thinking these things need to be closer because all these guys we're going to connect with, a lot of them are all in the LA, California area, except for the guys that, there's a couple guys that have been doing, they're friends of the host pastor.
Yep.
They've gone to other workshops together, and he invited them to come be these small group leaders because they've done this before and they've been involved. They've probably apprenticed and they've done some of this.
Yeah.
So he had them fly in, which is great.
Yeah.
But most of the guys are going to be from this area.
And our conference tomorrow is already sold out. I've heard they've got about 45 people coming.
Yeah.
There's kind of a wait list for it. We've had ladies at our church do the First Principles women's course.
Oh, yeah.
My wife's currently going through that.
That's because it's good.
I didn't realize till today. I was just kind of looking at Simeon Trust website, but they actually have this class, these workshops for women.
Yes. Yep, they have women's workshops.
So I was telling my wife about that. She was excited, but some of those are already sold out. You kind of have to go out a little ways to go to that. But it's exciting. I was already talking to my family about maybe coming back next year because these are the kind of things where you can learn something different.
Well, so
every time.
The host pastor, his name's PJ at what's the name of the church?
Bellflower Baptist. Yeah.
Bellflower Baptist, really great guy. He is really wanting to say, I think his words were, I want to create a beachhead here to continue in and press into the inland, right, and really get these guys working together. And they already have some cohort stuff, but that made me kind of sad. Because I would love to see something. I wasn't sure, but I would love to see something like this if we could find a way to put this together and get the Simeon Trust guys to come out and get some of our guys in our area out.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to travel.
Right.
That was what Brett was saying. Like, I'm in my own town.
Brett's kind of in the Des Moines area. These guys are in LA. We're just outside of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
So, if you're listening to this and you're kind of in the Mountain West somewhere, or you driving distance from Utah and Salt Lake City, let us know.
Or
drop
you
us a line.
Or you want to get on an airplane and come.
Fly out here. We got great skiing slopes. And
I would say, especially if you have gone to a workshop before.
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to be one of the challenges. I think that's one of the challenges they're facing. They had to fly a couple guys out.
Yeah.
You have to have people who've gone through the workshops serving in those apprentice and leadership roles, and they have to have some handle and understanding of kind of the Simeon Trust way.
Right.
It's not like you couldn't take this material and then go home and make some modifications, but at the workshop, we're all on the same page, right? Everybody's like, oh, question 3, and we're talking about it, and you look at their worksheet.
No, we've talked about it on the podcast. Like, you don't have to watch the First Principles to go to this workshop.
No.
But you've got to have some training if you're going to be an apprentice or be a small group leader.
Well, and it would be helpful because I noticed on our schedule they're going to do staying on the line, not above or below.
Yeah.
I think at the end, I'm not sure, there might be a melodic line. Maybe not.
Yeah.
There's a structure, like some of the things you get, a lot of the things in the First Principle, we're going to get some of that again.
Yep.
But it would be a lot better to have that all on the front end and not feel lost.
No,
in
I think it helps. I think it's definitely it helps you have a leg up if you do some of that prep work ahead of time. And they talk about that when you register. Hey, we recommend you watch First Principles, and even kind of listening to D.A. Carson today talking about apocalyptic literature.
Yeah, could you imagine if we were to workshop? So I've listened to and I've gone through the online course, which is outstanding, on the epistles. Really helpful, extremely helpful, and persuasion.
Yeah.
But could you imagine?
So wait a minute. So you did the online course on the epistles?
Yes.
And yet you still learned something today.
A ton of stuff. Yeah.
All right, keep going. Sorry.
Well, so here's why you're learning. So I heard him say things, and I thought, okay, yeah, that's that tool, that's that thing, okay. But it's when the preachers all start working together, the Holy Spirit starts working in them. There's a whole discussion that you're not getting that stuff on the online courses. So that was really where a lot of that stuff was coming out. A lot of the things I learned didn't necessarily come from, the Charles Simeon guys, right? But it just came from the whole conversation. We worked. Some of that felt like we were working it out together.
Yeah, it felt very organic.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of see how this one goes. I know we're looking at maybe doing a workshop in Salt Lake. We've never done one. I'd love to see if we can't get maybe PJ or Peter, the pastors here, on the podcast, because this is their first workshop. So I'd love to talk to them after and maybe
their
see
first
how
workshop as the host church. They've done a few of these.
I'd like to know what their thoughts are as far as running it.
So I'm going to try to reach out. I would like to figure out what, how they were able to get all that together. Because what do you think some of the challenges would be after what you've seen in our area? Right?
I think it's just all the communication, the dynamics of just getting everyone on the same page, just orchestrating everything and getting everybody in line. Sorry. Well,
I was just going to say, I think one of the challenges if you go to an area where there hasn't been one, you need to get people who've gone to the workshops.
Interest,
Yeah, is there interest? Have people gone to the workshops, because you're going to need you're going to need some group leaders, 4 or 5 group leaders or something, for those small group workshop parts, so you're going to need to have people who've gone to a workshop before, who have probably got together, worked out some of those things, and then go through this first. I mean, that might be part of the challenge in our area, is I don't know how many people in our area at all have gone to a workshop.
Right. Yeah.
So we would have to bring people in or whatever. But
sure.
I think there's challenges because they really put a real high bar to this.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good thing, but I think it'd be challenging. Like PJ's running into probably doing this for the first time in their church. But then Brett told us that one in Iowa's been going like 15 years or something. So
solid. So
really good, you know.
So what are you most excited for tomorrow? What are you thinking? Like what?
Me?
Yeah.
I was telling you I was really excited about the conversations. Like when we first put this out, I'm even more excited about that. I want to see what comes out of the other preachers here in California, and what I'm going to learn. And we just went through all of 2 Timothy, and I wouldn't be surprised if 3 days from now when this whole thing is done, we learn so much more, sure, plus the instruction stuff. And I get to do this with Daniel. My son is here, and we get to go through it together, and he's excited about it, and it's fun to see, 14-year-old with his Bible open, and he's highlighting, and he's listening, and they're saying, see how this connects to that, and he's seeing, the similar pieces, and then he's starting to learn Greek, and he came home, and I look over, and he's got his app open, he's reading through some Greek stuff, and he's trying to get the language. I mean, it's like, this fired him up, too.
No, I saw that earlier. I thought he was just, texting, but he was looking at his Greek flashcards or something.
Right.
Well, Daniel, are you excited for tomorrow? Are you mostly just excited to do this with Dad? Are you excited to grow in preaching? And what are you thinking about for tomorrow?
Even though I'm not allowed to participate in the conversations, I'm excited to sit in and hear what the different people at the table have to say and what they have to bring to the table.
Yeah. Are you excited to preach when we get back? Because you're preaching, next month in February, and you're preaching out of one of these. You're preaching out of a text in 2 Timothy. Are you excited about it?
Oh yeah.
He's gonna have a leg up, man. He's gonna take some notes tomorrow.
Are you more excited about it now than you were before today?
Probably, yeah.
Because you saw it, cool.
I'm excited. I can't imagine having that kind of opportunity at 14. And I'm excited just to grow my preaching and to learn stuff tomorrow. I'm a little nervous about kind of being the inexperienced guy at the table, but
I was going to ask you, because you're nervous about your presentation?
I'm nervous, but it was helpful today to see that nobody really, threw rocks at somebody. There was all kind and understanding and patient.
Everybody was really nice.
Grace.
I'm a little nervous because we did the work.
Yeah.
I've now watched what we're seeing here with the tools, and I'm like, I got to go back and add to that and bring, but I also really want to grow in this. I love the question. I think Robert had asked one of the guys, all right, when you go to an Indian place, they say, okay, if you're, this is your first time or whatever, what you want, hot, what was it, mild, medium, spicy, like spicy what kind of, so I really want to learn and grow, and I want the spicy feedback, but part of this is just, you're putting yourself out there in some ways, and I saw everybody just nodding, and all these guys are great guys. They're going to bring people along, but there's still a little sense of that you go, okay, I hope this goes okay.
I think as pastors, each one of us is always a little nervous to get some feedback, but we're all seeking to grow, right? And it's all about progress, like we said, so that's the key.
Yeah.
So.
No, and it's for the benefit of the work that we're doing, handling the word rightly, and preaching to the congregation well, and why wouldn't you want to make progress in that and do better in that? Absolutely. I mean, that's, as we saw in a lot of the work today, that's really what Paul's charge is to Timothy, and why wouldn't we want to do it well?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about you, but my brain is fried. It's been a long day of driving and listening and observing, so I'm ready to kind of shut down and see what tomorrow brings. But
I can't shut down. I got to go tweak my
You're gonna
hand. I got to work my hand down.
Daniel's going to go study his Greek cards. If we have Daniel on more often, we're going to have to make him an intern or something.
Oh, Daniel the intern. We'll have to talk about that.
Hey, but hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you've gone to a workshop or you've got some feedback, let us know. Drop us a line, SaltyBeliever@gmail.com. If you're in the Mountain West or interested in a workshop in Salt Lake City, drop us a line as well. Let us know what your thoughts are there. And hopefully that'd be something.
We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah.
We need
is
to
there
hear
interest
from you.
in a workshop in Salt Lake City? Please let us know. SaltyBeliever@gmail.com. Hey, Daniel, will you tell our listeners until next time?
Yeah. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. Salty Believer Unscripted is a production of SaltyBeliever.com. Visit the website to find more resources like the podcast you've just listened to.